Sharks have been among the most powerful underwater creatures throughout their history. In the past, they could easily break through the chest cavity of a whale, and today, some of them survive even in incredibly extreme and impossible environments. Let's look at them all. This is Smart Pizza, and in this episode, you'll learn about the sharks for which a volcano has become home, as well as see the most dangerous and unusual sharks of the past. Let's go! Sharks living in a volcano. The crater of the active submarine volcano Cavachi is a very dangerous, but at the same time interesting place for scientists who want so bad to study it better. Since the first recorded eruption in 1939, the volcano has risen and fallen above sea level 8 times. During the 2003 eruption, a 50-foot island formed, but it soon disappeared. Now, picture this. A team of researchers arrives at the site and prepares special equipment that can withstand the stated temperatures underwater. People lower the camera, which can stay at a depth of 150 feet for no more than an hour, and see real live sharks. Large sea creatures swim and don't worry about anything. They're not bothered by the high temperature. Moreover, they don't care about the acidity of this environment. And I'm not even talking about a volcanic eruption. What happens to the underwater inhabitants at this point? Scientists are still unable to give an unequivocal answer. Someone's convinced that the incredible regeneration of fish is to blame. They say such the environment gnaws them, but they quickly recover and find themselves in a vicious cycle. Others believe that the fish were there completely by accident, but somehow miraculously adapted and began to live and develop, even producing offspring. Yeah, people can find all the things in our world, right? Hit the like button if you've never thought that sharks and any other living creatures can live in such conditions. And if now you think that modern representatives have gone crazy, you just don't know how dangerous and unusual the ancient sharks were. I suggest we talk about them. First of all, we're going to talk about Critoxorina, or as it's also called, the Ginsu shark. The second name, by the way, was given to it by one of the scientists. The shark was named so after the famous brand of knives in the United States. Why the scientist had such an association? Now you'll learn. The Ginsu shark inhabited our planet about 90 to 80 million years ago. At one time, it was not limited to specific bodies of water and could be anywhere at any time. The most striking thing about it is its size. It reached 23 feet in length and weighed almost a ton. But you must admit that size alone would not be enough. Critoxorina was an extremely dangerous predator. 3-inch teeth helped it to be such, turning its jaws into a real saw, capable of cutting absolutely anything it came across. It could be bone, thick skin, some kind of shell or armor. This ancient giant didn't care. What is there to say if this shark could even eat a dinosaur? Nevertheless, the basis of its diet was not such large creatures. It loved to swallow a prey and think nothing of it. Only if someone pissed it off, or if it was simply too hungry, would Critoxorina attack even a creature larger than itself. For example, its bite marks have been found on the bones of mosasaurs, the shells of turtles, and even on the fin of Elasmosaurus, a giant plesiosaur. Despite this, although there were traces of its teeth on the bodies of large predators, according to the official version, the shark went extinct precisely because of these very big creatures. Hybotus. The fossilized teeth of our next guest were found in 1845 in England. Then mankind learned that somewhere 66 or even 270 million years ago, there lived a shark called Hybotus. To distinguish it from the rest is quite simple, and at the same time a little bit difficult. These creatures had kind of horns peculiar only to them, which were clearly visible in any water. At the same time, history knows more than 60 species of this shark. But what was the power of Hybotus? What allowed it to occupy some niche and evolve in such difficult conditions? If we had asked this question to the shark, it would have said, glub glub, glub glub glub, which in translation from the old fish language means, my secret is simplicity and plainness. While others were trying to gain muscle mass and become the largest and most dangerous predators, this predator was burrowing somewhere in the bottom and was in no hurry to clash with anyone. Simply didn't need it. This strategist fed on small fish and other slower creatures. Stability and labor allowed Hybotus to settle from the Triassic to the Cretaceous period in almost all the seas of the planet. Occasionally, however, when it did come time for battles and fights, this intellectual would have an ace up its sleeve. I'm talking about its dorsal fin. The trick is that that's where Hybotus had a hidden sharp spine that could be spread and plunged into its opponent's throat or wherever. As for the horns I mentioned at the beginning, their purpose is still unknown. However, there is an option that the shark also needed them for self-defense. Helicoprion. The next shark in our episode was apparently an avid fan of chewing tobacco or other such nasty things. Well, jokes aside, all this stuff will not spare your lips exactly the same way as Helicoprion was not spared by evolution. This creature of the oceans lived quite a long time ago, more than 250 million years ago to be more precise. Scientists believe that the length of the shark could reach 40 feet, and it was one of the most fierce and powerful representatives of the underwater world. But, as you already understand, the trick here is not the size of this monster of the depths. The main strength and feature of the fish is its jaws. Moreover, for a long time the creature was generally known only by the tooth spirals. Shark teeth were recognized in the fossils, however it turned out to be no easier to understand how this thing can be integrated into the design of the living organism than to build a car from scratch. I mean it. People have seen this fish like this, and even like this. Pick anyone you like. Although in general, strange jaw shapes for cartilaginous fish are still in the order of things today. Let's remember at least, for example, the notorious sawfish. And even if we set aside the fact that the jaws could be in any place, do any of you have any idea how they could have been used? Were they movable? Did they stand in one place, or did they function like a circular saw at all? To this day, scientists cannot give an unequivocal answer to all these questions. They leave room for imagination. So why not share your opinion on this in the comments? Megalodon. Well, this predator, as it seems to me, does not need any introduction at all. People read books where its name comes up, watch movies in which the shark pesters everyone and everything in its path, or watch episodes of this YouTube channel. This giant, which became extinct about 2.5 million years ago, was simply anomalous in terms of size and occupied a unique ecological niche, which is why its behavior was significantly different from the behavior of any other predators. By the way, here's a fun fact. Despite the fact that megalodons seem to us very large, bloodthirsty, and toothy sharks, the prehistoric monster had much more in common with whales. First, megalodons were warm-blooded. That is, they could maintain a constant body temperature, unlike today's sharks. Second, megalodons moved at about the same speed as whales do today. They were characterized by low stamina and a slow metabolic process. Everyone always says megalodon was big. It was anomalous, gigantic, but no specific numbers are given. Well, this fish could reach 50 feet in length and weigh more than 40 tons. The impact force of the adult shark was so powerful that the shark could break through the chest cavity of a cetacean, a whale-eating shark. What could be more epic? Of course, when there's such super predator in history, everyone wants to believe that it's still lurking somewhere in the depths of the ocean to this day. Many people think that right now the shark is hiding underwater somewhere at the very bottom of the oceans and feeding on small fish. But such dreamers don't take into account one simple fact. It's because of the lack of food that Megalodon became extinct. This huge shark physically cannot eat only small fish because it simply doesn't have enough food to live on. Megalodon is obliged to hunt often, to hunt large animals, which is exactly the price nature took for such great abilities and incredible strength. And that's not even to mention the changed oxygen levels in the air. In those days, it was much higher, which caused animals and plants to grow to an incredible size. Today, this isn't the case, and it's physically impossible for Megalodon to regain its former glory. Stethocanthus. As you may have noticed, millions of years ago, the question of aesthetics, beautiful appearance, colorfulness, and stuff like that was of little interest to fish. Nevertheless, there was one among them that stood out against the general background. It was a real swimming example of what will happen if you don't listen to your elders. Stethocanthus itself was a relatively small fish for those times. Its length could vary from 2.2 to 6.5 feet. Such a size didn't allow the fish to show off at the top of the food chain, but the fish also didn't have to be afraid of everyone. Most probably its diet consisted of small fish, mollusks, and probably benthic organisms like trilobites and crustaceans. Nevertheless, it also had something that made it stand out from the rest. I'm talking, of course, about its unusual dorsal fin. Having a wide and slightly thickened upper part, it looked like either an anvil or an ironing board. because of what in scientific circles Stethocanthus is seriously called an ironing board. On the flat surface of the fin, there were many jagged scales, which were also on the head of the underwater inhabitant. They helped it to defend itself, and in some cases, even to camouflage itself. That's all, guys. Which shark impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.